Hey everybody, this week's episode of the R&R Show is brought to you by CGE. And welcome to the show, everybody, and welcome, Ruel. How are you doing?
Good. Happy to be here as always. My recent health issues, I'm still dealing with a little bit, but I'm on the mend, my friend. I've got a lot more energy, a lot more excitement within me because I'm able to play board games and talk about board games with you here on episode 23 of the R&R show. 23 episodes, man. I don't think
I
I've done
don't
23 episodes of anything. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that I would have guessed 6 months ago that we would have gone this long, but it seems to be going stronger and just getting more popular every week. So it seems like we should keep doing it, especially if we get such great sponsors as CGE or Czech Games Edition, one of my favorite board game publishers of all time. So much so that in honor of their sponsorship of the show, I decided to put one of their absolute best games on my table. So, would you like to do a What's on the Table section?
Yeah. What is on that table, Rahdo?
It's Lost Ruins of Arnak. And for folks who don't know, this is a monster hit for CG, one in a long line of monster hits. Czech Games Edition, Vlada Shavatel and the team, they know what they are doing. This game is a fantastic combination of worker placement and deck building. And the two things come together so well in a quasi Indiana Jones type adventure. Although, unlike regular Indiana Jones, this is not a game of, appropriating cut and just bringing it belongs in a museum. Here, we've come to a lost island where there is no record of this civilization. And our job is to come here and, research. We spend as much time researching as we do adventuring to be able to uncover the lost stories to tell the world who these people were. So I love the story that is told with this game, but I also love the gameplay because worker placement and deck building is a great combination. But what's really cool is the Expedition Leaders expansion. Oh my gosh, this so pushed the game into, this was in like my top 150 games. Now it's in my top 50 games of all time because this expansion, the Leaders expansion, adds unique player powers. I think there's 5 of them. Like I've got here, the Falconer, or is it an eagle? It's either an eagle or a falcon. Over the course of the game, she can actually send her falcon out to basically do reconnaissance for her before she runs out. And over here, we've got the Professor, who has a bonus of extra artifacts that he knows about. That normally, there's only artifacts up here that players can, basically pay knowledge and research for, or pay knowledge to be able to add to their deck. He's got extra ones in the queue, and after he's learned all these, he gets more of them. So he's got his own special cash that he is going for, plus he gets passive income throughout the game to pay for them. And there's 3 other ones, if I recall correctly. They're all radically different. And then on top of that, like any good deck builder expansion, it adds a bunch of new cards, new artifact cards, and new item cards. It adds a whole new extra board. This is 2-sided. This research board, I could flip it, but I'm not going to because I don't want to spread everything all over the place. I didn't expect that. Honestly, with a deck builder expansion, I just expected some new cards. But, CGE went so far above and beyond. And like I said, really elevates this game to the stratosphere. Like I said, now it is one of my faves of all time. I already liked it, but now I love it so much. And I'm not sure if the Expedition expansion is available yet or if it's coming soon.
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I remember I saw the prototype way back during Gen Con, and I was so pumped about it because I saw those characters. There's also a character that you actually get like a third worker to play along because you usually just get 2.
Yes.
Yep. I think the release date was late last year or around Essen or whatever.
Okay.
I know one of my buddies. He has it on. He pre-ordered it, and I think he said it was going to be available either at this end of this month or start of next month.
Well, folks,
I love this game, and I think that like you said, the expansion takes it to the next level. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm super jealous that you have it already. I want to play this.
You should be, quite frankly, because it's awesome. I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat it. It is just too good. This is not the only great game from CGE. To celebrate the fact that they're sponsoring the show this week, I have actually done my top 10 favorite CGE games of all time. That is a totally separate video. You can hit that eye in the top right corner screen or follow the links down in the show notes after you're done with us, of course, if you'd like to hear about some more CGE goodness and find out where Lost Ruins of Arnak, because, spoiler alert, it definitely makes it onto my top 10 games from now. But not only that, folks, CGE is so great. I've done a top 10 for them. I love this game. I'm happy to talk about it. They're also great because they're going going to give something back to you, the watcher of R&R. We've got a contest giveaway this week where one lucky winner is going to get a copy from a Czech Games edition, or Tech Games edition of the new edition of Galaxy Trucker, the anniversary edition. And Galaxy Trucker, well, you'll have to watch my top 10 to see if it makes my top 10 list. I'm not going to spoil anything more. I already spoiled enough, but it's a phenomenal game. I'm sure you've played Galaxy Trucker.
Yeah, it's a blast, and I haven't played the new edition, but I mean I love the colorful art that they've updated with. It just looks even more family friendly. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So one lucky winner is going to get this, and how do they get it, Ruel?
Good question, folks. During the show, we are going to be saying a secret word at some point during the show, and what you're going to do is when you hear the secret word, type in the name of the game that we're talking about that time and send it to an email at contest@rahdo.com. Now, the secret word for this week's show is partner. Partner. Partner, as in we are partners in crime or partners in rhyme or partners in whatever. We are going to be saying, one of us is going to say the word at some point during the show. Again, whatever game we're talking about, type that into an email at contest@rahdo.com.
Exactly.
And you'll be entered to win your a copy of Galaxy Trucker.
An excellent little game. Yeah, I mean, it's just so fun. Yeah, cannot recommend it highly enough. But again, you'll find out how much I recommend it in the separate top 10. Secret word partner, email to contest@rahdo.com. Okay, so we have got our starting business out of the way, and I think people would like us to count down backwards from 10 to 1. Can you think of something we can talk about while we're doing that, maybe, so it's not just a very quick show?
Yeah, well, why don't we go with the top 10 board game expansions for 2022? These are the ones that we're most excited about.
Yeah.
We love board games, and what's better than a board game? A board game expansion to make a good game great, or a great game greater, or awesomer. I don't know what the word is, but
well, yeah, like the Leader Expedition for
there it is.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't actually talk about this ahead of time, but I mean, expansions are a really big deal for me personally because, doing the Rahdo Runs Through show, I'm constantly deluged with new games I've got to cover, and there are so many games out there that I absolutely love, but I've already done a run through for it. It's kind of done. I am always so excited when expansions come in because that means I get to go back and visit my favorites, my lovelies, and get to play some more so I can cover the expansion. And, I mean, sometimes expansions are just kind of nice to have. Sometimes they are true game changers, like, the Expedition Leaders from Czech Games Edition. So we both spent some time going on Board Game Geek, and you can do a search. Actually, there's a category called expansions for base games, and so we basically just pulled that list up, sorted it by date, and looked through. I think there was like 20 pages with 25 entries on each page or something like that.
Yeah, there were a ton. I had no idea all these expansions were available, and this is just for this coming year, folks. So we went through a ton of them and narrowed it down somehow to our top 10.
Yep. So, without further ado, let's actually do this. You can start out, right?
Yeah, I'll start with my number 10. My most number 10 on the list of anticipated expansions for 2022. My number 10 is.
Yes. Drum roll.
Did I hit the button? There it is. Number 10, Dominion Allies.
This we go.
This is a brand new expansion for Dominion. The grandfather, the granddaddy of them all, as far as deck building goes, by Mr. Vaccarino there. Again, I have not, it's funny, I haven't played Dominion in probably a year and a half, but Dominion is my most traded away and rebought game. I've done it 2 or 3 times now, where, I'll play a bunch of Dominion, and I was like, okay, I can pass it on and pass it on to my nephew, or I pass it on to a friend, and then somehow I was like, I miss Dominion. So I rebuy it, or I just got a retrade from my buddy Daryl B. Gaiman. He gave me his old first edition copy, so now I have a bunch of expansions with it as well. And that's the thing. I think there's like, is it 24 expansions now, or maybe it's close to 20 expansions?
It's amazing how much content there is for this game now.
Yeah.
And I'm always amazed how every time you think, they're just going to rest on their laurels, but every time Donald X. Vaccarino, he comes back to it, he comes up with something really new and different. I have to admit, I haven't looked at this yet. This was in my top 10, but of course, we're doing your top 5 and my top 5 as we do the countdown, so this was a bit higher for me. What is it? Allies arrive to do favors, and certain kingdom piles can be rotated. What does that mean?
Rotated. And that's the thing. There's not much information on the website or
Okay.
on BGG, and that's what caught my eye. I was like, "Ooh, rotate." So I'm wondering, is it a multi-use card now that they have? We don't know. We're gonna have to wait for the expansion. But this expansion is gonna come with over 400 cards. That's I think 30 something kingdom piles. So
Wow.
again, a ton of new content for this. I'm looking forward to that rotating a bit here in Dominion Allies. So that's my number 10. It's it's a classic, evergreen title for a reason. Because no matter how much I try to give it away, I'm going to come back and play it
You
again.
keep coming back for
Um,
more, which is kind
I
of the
keep
point
coming
of
back for more.
expansions when it boils right down to it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they're
Exactly.
doing their
And
job
there,
quite well.
it is for my money. It's still, again, it's been out forever. All the different expansions, it's still the best, like true, like pure deck builder. I think
Yeah.
where I always like that point where you're building your deck and you're trying to find that exact moment in time. Like, okay, when do I start going for those victory points? When do I start grabbing those? And
Yeah.
it's always a hit with me and my friends, and that's why number 10, Dominion Allies, is one of my most anticipated expansions for this year.
All right, well, that's number 10 on the list. Let's move on to number 9, which honestly, I knew this was coming, but I wasn't quite sure if I was actually going to put it on the list because I've actually got a little bit of fatigue for Marvel Champions, which for a while was in my top 10 games of all time. Quite frankly, I absolutely loved Marvel Champions when it first came out. But as more and more content has come out, it's kind of gotten away from what made it so special to me in the first place. The balance between focusing on the superheroics but also the personal lives of the characters. With every new expansion, it's like we get farther and farther away from that truly special sauce. But then when I actually spent time looking at the new one, Sinister Motives, which basically expands the Spider-Verse and brings in, effectively the Sinister Six, Doctor Octopus, Mysterio, some of the greatest, comic book villains of all time in a big epic campaign. First of all, you had me at Spider-Verse because Spider-Man has always been my favorite comic book character, and obviously Into the Spider-Verse, and now Spider-Man No Way Home has really kind of pushed this interdimensional stuff, and so I'm very, very excited about it anyway. So I was a bit more excited, but I was still a bit nervous about, was it going to be something, or was it going to be more of the same? Where it's just a bunch of beat 'em ups. And they're all the stuff that's special, but the two new playable characters here, which are Miles Morales, new Spider-Man, and what do they call her? They call her Spider-Gwen, but her real superhero name is Ghost Spider. But everybody calls her Spider-Gwen because she's from Gwen Stacy from another reality who got bit by the spider. It's them as playable characters. And actually, I have to give a big shout out to, let's see, who is this here? All You Can Board, because actually he did a really great preview walking through all the known information about the cards that are in this, and when he started talking about the cards that come with Spider-Gwen and Miles Morales, I kind of fell in love with the game all over again because it seems like there is a big focus on their personal life too. One of the most important characters for Ghost Spider is Gwen Stacy's father, and it looks like because it's always been the Spider characters that really focus on their personal lives more than just about any other hero, and that's what I love. So my fingers are crossed with this expansion. I mean, it looks great. I mean, I watched his video where he went through all the villains and stuff like that. Very, very exciting stuff. But when I saw how much more attention there was to the other side, their personal life. If I recall correctly, I think Miles Morales has a power that makes it very, very, you really want to, stop fighting and switch to his day clothes and, go back to being a kid because he's got one of the more powerful alter ego effects I've ever seen so far. So I am surprised with myself. I was interested, but I am actively excited now about the number 9 for the list, Sinister Motives, Marvel Champions. Okay.
Yeah, I saw this on the expansions list, and I was like, "Yep, that's going to be on yours." But I thought it'd be higher on your list, but I knew it would definitely make it on your list. I'm a big fan.
I kind of had to. I just had to. If my enthusiasm can be rekindled for this game, 2022 will be off to a very good start. I have to say.
Nice. Okay.
All right. So what's number 8?
My number 8 is Architects of the West Kingdom: Works of Wonder.
Ah, okay.
I'm a big fan of Architects of the West Kingdom. Again, this is a series of games. It's in a series of games for the West Kingdom by Shem Phillips. We had Architects of the West Kingdom, we had Paladins, and then we also had Viscounts.
Correct.
Architects
Yep.
and Paladins are the ones that I really go back to the most. And I really like Architects, the base game. And there was a previous expansion, I believe it was the Artisans expansion. Now we have the Works of Wonder. These are going to be, well, basically you're building 5 wonders of the world, right? Just like
Okay.
the big monuments. So that adds that. You're going to have contribution, and I think they're called consequence cards. So you're going to have to deal with that. And it takes the base game, which is a really nice worker placement game, a little bit of take that, where you can put other players, workers in prison or jail. You have to figure out how to get them out. But this adds a few more things, including the wonders, the contribution consequent cards, and also there's a princess and profiteer element to it as well. So those tokens move on the main board, and you're going to have to curry their favor, get their influence in order to score more points. And I think it's one of those expansions to me that I really enjoy, where you have the base game, you have the main elements, and you're just adding a few new things to it without totally making the game different. It's still basically a worker placement game.
Yeah.
I love Shem Phillips' design. That's why this immediately caught my eye. Architects of the West Kingdom, Works of Wonder.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 of the West Kingdom games are fantastic, from Shem and S.J. McDonald, his co-designer on these. I have to admit, Viscounts is my favorite. I feel like we just talked about this last week, and we kind of
we
ranked
did.
the West Kingdom games. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely down for more Architects too. And honestly, of the 3, I think Architects probably has the most interesting and innovative design. When you were talking about it, that idea of, it's a worker placement game and I could arrest your workers. And sometimes you kind of want that to happen, because it's easier to get them out of jail than to get them back off the board so you can do more stuff. It's such a clever design. And and obviously it's a hugely popular thing. And it looks like Architect fans are going to be having a good year too, because more is on the way. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
All right.
Okay. What's your number 7?
Well, okay. My number 7 is an expansion for another worker placement game, as it happens right now, and one of my absolute favorites of all time. It's the Pursuit of Happiness Nostalgia. And I don't know if you played Pursuit of Happiness. I mean, it's not quite as big as the Architect series or Marvel Champions.
Yeah, I have not, unfortunately, but I've heard nothing but good things about this game.
Oh, you have to play it. You would love it, Ruel. It is basically, this is a worker placement game where our workers represent the time of our lives. Every time we place a worker on the board, that basically represents 5 years of our overall life, of our early days as a teenager or a young adult, or in the middle ages and old age. And everything we're trying to do is score happiness points in this game. It's a card drafting game, and actually there's no pictures here. I wonder, should I just go on ahead and do a quick search for Rahdo Pursuit of Happiness, so I can actually put something of it on screen, just so people can get a better idea of what it looks like. Let's see here. There we go. What page am I on? I don't know. I think I was on Reddit there. But so this is a big, colorful card drafting worker placement game where all the cards you can get represent friends, family, jobs, careers, hobbies, memories, all kinds of things. Cherished possessions, and at its heart, this is a game all about getting cards and playing them to be able to convert time, money, and other resources into happiness, to see who has lived the best life by the end of the game. My wife and I have always loved it. This game, we have had some games where literally when we're getting towards the end and it's old age, we have had such poignant stories that have evolved. I mean, we've actually cried. I'm not even gonna. If I actually talk about one of the stories my wife and I played, where where dance was an important thing throughout the life of this one person, and there was a forbidden love that they were ultimately able to consummate in their golden years, and they said they had one last.
Wow.
Anyway, this game is a storytelling machine. Every time you play, you are going to create interesting, engaging, wow, what a life lived. And not very many games do that. And then on top of that, it's just a really good worker placement game with smart, clever systems and stuff like that. Now, the new Nostalgia maybe is going to be the coolest expansion yet, and they've had several expansions, because it introduces that most powerful of emotions, nostalgia, things from your early life, childhood, that can effectively, in game terms, power you up later in game, because you can encounter these things that were so important to you once upon a time. And honestly, I have not. You've done more research on your games than me so far, because I didn't need to look at this. I know I have to have this. Every new expansion for Pursuit of Happiness has made it better, together has made it more emotionally engaging and rich. And nostalgia, I think, has the potential to be the most enveloping and interesting story-wise so far, because nostalgia is such a powerful force in all our lives, and I cannot wait to see how it works its way into Pursuit of Happiness nostalgia. Number 7 on the list.
Wow.
And I need to
You have
compose myself a little bit.
Yeah, no, take a breath, my
Yeah.
friend. Take all the time you need. The fact that you were so emotional about this and so passionate about it. I need to play this game.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love
yes, you
what you
do.
said. Yeah, I mean, game mechanisms and all that stuff aside, just the fact that you have such an emotional attachment to the storytelling of it, I'm fully 100% into it now. So
All right.
thank you for sharing that. I can't wait to check that out.
Okay.
Let's move on to my number 6.
Yeah,
There's a
what's
little
number 6?
emotion involved with this one for
Okay,
myself
okay.
personally. No, number 6 expansion I'm looking forward to, Canvas Reflections. The reason why I'm
Okay.
emotional about this is because I played this game for the first time last year.
Uh-huh.
I've only played it once, and I absolutely love this. I think it's a game that Michelle would enjoy too. My wife,
Oh my
unfortunately,
gosh, you haven't
she
played with
wasn't
her.
able to play it. I have not, and I know she's the artist in our family. And this game, you are a painter, creating your paintings. And what I dig about this, it's such a cool thing. They took the Mystic Veil like cards,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The card crafting, and they made it into this very accessible. It's a much lighter game than Mystic Veil. You're not too worried
Definitely.
about combos and stuff. It's more set collection, but you're actually crafting paintings, and these things are beautiful. At the end of the game, I mean, you have crafted 3 paintings. That triggers the end game, and you can see the different symbols there. You're trying to match them up to score more points, and they're gorgeous. It is just such a beautiful game, and I really want to play this with Michelle. Now, what the
Yeah.
Reflections expansion does is it gives you a little bit more. What it does is gives you double-sided cards. So these double-sided reversible cards give you a little more strategy, and
Wow, really?
you're going to be able to do a little more as far as the combos are concerned. So the light game of Canvas that I originally played is now a little deeper, a little more meaningful, and has a few more
Wow.
strategic decisions. And that's why I'm excited about it. My emotional attachment to it is because I really want Michelle to play this because I know she would love this. And then the gamer part of my brain says, "Ooh, I want this expansion because it's going to make it a little more interesting, or a little more deeper as far as strategy goes." So that is my number 6, Canvas Reflections.
That's cool. I mean, I just figured this was going to be more cards, which really is all it needs to be.
Yeah.
So you can actually it's in the title, Reflection. You can actually flip them, and on the other side there's something
Yeah.
completely different. That's
Yeah. Isn't
brilliant.
that neat?
That is such
Yeah.
a smart idea. I mean, obviously, I assume the picture stays the same on both sides because you don't want to look at the back
Right.
of a picture, but it's those icons down at the bottom.
Icons.
Because, yeah, this is, I mean, you're right. It's a lightweight game, but it can get surprisingly crunchy already just with the base game as you're trying to balance, which cards are going to go where. And then, in
Right.
the process of doing that, you end up making a completely unique piece of art every time you play. Really
Yeah,
good
it's-
call. Good call. There's
such
more
a
to it
gorgeous game.
than I thought there was going to be. That's nice.
Yeah. Super excited.
Okay, cool. Well, that was number 6 on the list. Let's move on to number 5, and this one's been a long time coming, folks. It is the Manhattan Project Energy Empire Cold War. Which, and I say a long time coming because this was on Kickstarter. Well, first of all, Manhattan Project Energy Empire, as far as I'm concerned, is probably arguably the greatest worker placement game of all time, from Tom Jolly and Luke Laurie and Minion Games. And an absolutely fantastic game. I absolutely love it. So more content is a big deal for me. I loved it so much. I actually backed this on Kickstarter. I almost never back anything on Kickstarter anymore, Ruel, but I love the game so much I had to get new stuff to feed my Energy Empire addiction. And so, I mean, the campaign actually ran years ago. This design was done a long time ago. And the reason it's taken so long is because, incredibly sadly, the head of Minion Games died. He's no longer with us. And all of a sudden, his wife's like, well, there's this incredibly successful Kickstarter I've got. I don't know what to do. This was one of my husband's last acts on this earth. I want to get it out there, but I have no idea what to do. And so, is it Grail Games? I need to look. Another publisher stepped up. I'm clicking the link now. It will tell me that it was, let's see, Play Fun and Do It. Okay, other publishers have stepped up to help finish the project, and it took a long time. And as a Kickstarter backer, I was getting regular updates about how they were having to get the rights to be able to access files and all of that stuff. But it's taken a long time, and it's finally here. And I'm so happy about it too, because I would hate for the original game is a hugely nominated, well-loved game, one of my favorites of all time, and for it to sit fallow, one of the last works of, was it James Matthew, I believe, was the head of Minions Games, to go unfulfilled. I'm just so happy it's finally going to come out. And then on top of that, I'll be honest. The Cold War is actually my least favorite part of it. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at Energy Empire, not Cold War. No wonder. Okay, I gotta click the right link. I don't know what I'm doing. There it is. It was Grail Games. Yes, I thought that was. Okay. Grail Games has stepped in to finish what Minion Games was sadly unable to finish. And okay, wait a minute. What the heck? How does this happen? That's weird. This is a Board Game Geek, but I was on the right thing. But then when I clicked on pictures, it went to okay. Anyway, I'm very excited about this because it looks like it adds some very cool new stuff. I'm a little nervous about, does it get a little bit more PvP? Because Manhattan Project Energy Empire is a follow-on to Manhattan Project, and the original Manhattan Project had a lot more a lot more really screwing with your opponents. And one of the reasons I loved Energy Empire so much is all that stuff went away. Maybe it's coming back, I don't know, but this is going to be one of those rare cases where even if it does feature player versus player, I want to play it anyway because the base game was so good, and because it's just so great that Grail Games was able to step up and finish Tom and Luke and James's work to give us Cold War. So that is coming this year, and I'm really happy about that for a number of reasons. Right.
Yeah, nice. Luke Laurie, is he the one that recently did Cryo?
That is correct. Yes, Luke Laurie and Tom Jolly, the same team, put out Cryo, which I remember was one of your faves of the year, as I recall.
It was, and I'm sad to say I have not played this game yet. So
you have to. I
have not.
Yes, you must.
Yeah, I need to play this. Awesome, cool. Good call.
All right.
Let's move on to my number 4. I'm going to put it up here. My number 4 expansion I'm looking forward to is Riftforce Beyond. Now, Riftforce is a 2-player card dueling game. This was one of my favorites of last year, honestly. I was very, very surprised by this. I didn't think Michelle would be into it. I wasn't sure if I'd be into it, but I played it. It's combo-tastic, as I like to say. You're playing, you have your, there's different guilds in the game. You get 2 of them each, and they synergize differently. You're basically it's almost like an area control game. You're trying to take parts of the Riftforce. But it's very, it's not everyone's jam because it's, 1v1, player versus player. But this Beyond expansion not only gives you a solo mode, but it also allows you to team up together as well. You can partner with another player. You can play 3 or 4 player games. And the solo mode I'm looking forward to, because I always thought, I was like, I would love to play this game solo. And now the Riftforce Beyond expansion gives you that ability to solo.
Wait a minute. Solo is all well and good, but you said team up. Are you saying there's a co-op mode now?
Yes, a co-op mode. So you're gonna, I think you battle. I don't know. Is it like a boss monster?
Some
basically?
kind of that's doing the choices of another player. Yeah.
Yes. So it's a really cool design where each of your cards is really powerful and can do stuff, and you're trying to figure out, okay, do I want to go along the Riftforce to try to take this area, or do I hold back cards in order to have like a stronger turn next turn, or do I combo it with one of my other factions? It's a really cool design. I felt like it was a little overlooked last year for whatever reason. Maybe there's just so many games that come out every year, but this one was overlooked. I can't wait to play this one, especially with that co-op thing where you're partnering with another player. It is Riftforce Beyond.
Yeah, me too. You have definitely piqued my interest in a big bad way. What I was just showing on screen for folks who are listening in podcast form rather than watching the show, Shay did a run through for it, a preview when it was on Kickstarter. And I have to admit, when I first read it, I thought, wow, this sounds really a cut above the average dueling wizard game. So much stuff, really interesting how you kind of you combine all these decks of guilds and you get really different play styles every time. And it was successful. But I mean, you're right. I don't think it's caught as much attention as it should. I'm glad you really dig it. I believe
Yeah.
I remember hearing Tom Vassell raving about it at one point as well.
Oh, okay.
That
Yeah. And it eventually got picked up by Capstone. So Capstone Games.
oh, then it
Yeah.
has a
Yeah.
bright future.
Yes, it does. So again, one thing I should mention about the new expansion, not only does it have, the new different modes, but it does come with like I think 8 new guilds. And all of these, now you've got like a total of over a dozen that you can mix and match, and I can't wait to try these out. That's
Wow.
Riftforce Beyond.
That is, I mean, you always talk about how, Rahdo, you know so much about games. I'm just getting to learn stuff. I mean, you are teaching me a lot today. There's a lot of stuff that I saw. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking to pass. And you're like really opening my eyes. That is very,
Awesome.
very cool. Because
I'm glad I can return the favor, my friend.
yeah, totally. That is a nice one. Number 4, Riftforce Beyond. See, there's no hint in there of co-op. They was called Riftforce
Right?
Alliance or something like that, so that I would have.
Yeah.
my precious, my pretty. Okay, cool. Well, that is very exciting. Much more so than I thought it was going to be when I
Cool.
clicked the link and saw what it was. Because by the way, folks, we have no idea what's on each other's list when we start doing this. I just have basically a list of Bitly links that I follow and put on the screen. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's all behind the scenes. That's making the sausage. Let's actually talk about more sausage. My number 3 is Tapestry. Arts and Architecture.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, Ruel, I love Tapestry so much. As far as I'm concerned, is it the best game from Stonemaier Games? It might be. As far as I'm concerned, it is the second. Yes,
Nice.
I say that. I'm taking that pretty seriously. I really like Charterstone too, but no, I think Tapestry goes above it. And of course,
Nice.
Scythe is never going to be my jam. So sorry, Scythe fans, but I put this over Viticulture any day of the week.
Fan?
Viticulture is a brilliant worker placement game. Tapestry is a cut above as far as I'm concerned. Jen and I have always been big fans of it. And this, when I talked right up front about how excited I am that I get to play revisit games. I've actually played this. I got an advanced copy of it. I covered it in last month's roundup. It's going to be coming soon, and this is a big deal. This is not the first expansion for Tapestry, but I would definitely say it is the most important. It adds more really cool new pre-painted minis of the neat buildings you can build. That's all very, very nice. Yeah, those are that's not fan painted stuff. That's the way they come in the box, which is just great. It adds a bunch of new what do you call them? Civilizations, societies that do really new and interesting stuff, like always, which is also very well and good. And actually, it's gotten so big now, I've had to. Blasphemy, folks, I know, but I've squeezed it all into my main Tapestry box by tossing my Tapestry insert. It's gone. It's gone. No more. Because look at all this stuff that comes with it. I had to find room for all of these things. So I was excited because every time you play Tapestry, when you play another civilization, they're all so unique. They're all so game-changing. And that's always been what makes the game so special for me. Especially when you get late in the game, sometimes you get to unlock bonus civilizations, and then you can kind of combine their powers and stuff like that. So Jen and I played it. We really loved it. It introduces new landscapes that you're building your civilizations in that change the rules up. I wasn't expecting that. That was very cool. But really, the most important thing about it, a lot of the new cards, a lot of the new civilizations introduce new ways for you to use those buildings. In the base game of Tapestry, they are the most over-architected, some of the most over-architected, underused pieces in board gaming. Because the only reason you go through all the trouble to build these really cool little pre-painted mini buildings is to put them on a grid and score points as you're trying to fill up they're basically like polyomino Tetris pieces. But now a ton of the cards give you alternate choices when you build these things. Rather than building up your civilization, your home city, you can apply them to cards and unlock all kinds of cool special powers. And that sounds like a little thing, but that's actually probably the biggest game changer in this box. But I think what most people are interested in, it does add a 5th category that you can advance your civilization on. The base game, you're working on science, technology, and food stuff. You get better at food. And a 4th one, which I'm completely forgetting. Oh, military. You're working on those 4 tracks. There is now a 5th track that is devoted to the arts. And that one basically makes all the other tracks more powerful and finds new ways to combo stuff in. My wife, who is a glass artist, was so happy to see this, that there's so much of a focus on, some of what makes humanity so special. And it works in really interesting new thematic ways. All the new expansion content content there. There's a lot that comes in this little box. You get a lot. Like I said, you can barely fit it all in the main box now. But really, the fundamental game changer of those buildings have new purpose that they've never had before is what really made me most excited about the number 3 on the list, Tapestry, Arts, and Architecture. Phew.
I need to play this game again. It's been a while since I played it. At least a year and a half, maybe 2 years since I played. I enjoyed Tapestry a lot. I thought it was brilliant. But just for whatever reason, it just hasn't gone back to the table. I think it's Michelle and I did play it. She wasn't really into it. It's not really her style of game. But what you said about the arts and architecture expansion, I think it's neat that it's going to really ramp up all the other tracks that you're going to go through. And
it ties everything together really nicely without adding any
cool.
extra length. I know some people were concerned, is this going to make the game longer? Nope. The game is still as fast as ever. Oh, and by the way, it's not a food track, it's exploration. That's the other thing. I knew
exploration.
Food was wrong. Food is wrong. It's not food, it's exploration.
That's right.
Is the other main thing that you can focus your civilization.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2.
Let's move on. I've got my number 2 on my list of upcoming expansions I'm super fired up about. Number 2 is Flamme Rouge Grand Tour.
Okay.
Folks, Flamme Rouge, probably one of my all-time favorite racing games. This game, the base game is fast-paced. It's basically a hand management game.
Yeah.
You have, just like the Tour de France, you've got your cyclists. You have a two cyclist team. You're trying to, go around the track and get to the end. You're going to play cards. So some of them are going to slow you down. And if you really want to be efficient, you're trying to like slingshot or draft behind other riders so you can get extra movement. What I'm excited about this Grand Tour, it's a campaign. It's almost you were going to do a 21 stage Grand Tour, and it's a campaign mode. So new tracks, specialists, riders, all kinds of stuff. They're going to be able to customize your decks as well. Usually it's just you can see in the video that you're doing there.
Yeah.
You have just standard decks and you just shuffle up and play the numbers and stuff. But the new expansion, because it's a campaign mode, you're going to have different riders and stuff. And so you're doing, I think it's 3 stage tours. So it's like 3 little races. And then eventually you're going to go through the entire one. So in reality, this is actually being like a Tour de France, right? You're actually going to have that full on campaign. And I'm excited about this because I love this racing game. It's always a hit with anyone I play it with. My family loves it, and I think it'd be really neat to have this campaign mode and just go through it and see how far you can go.
That's interesting. I seem to recall with the original Flamme Rouge there was some kind of like little mini campaign thing, or was it released as kind of like a free thing or something like that?
I think it was like a print and play or something. Yeah, you're right. But this is like a full on like full fleshed out version of that. Especially because I don't think the print and play one it was like a campaign, but it did not include like the specialist riders or the yeah. So,
unique
and
player
they also have new
powers
tracks
always
as well
for the win and new track. Yeah, I mean, this is interesting.
Yeah, that's my number 2, Flamme Rouge.
An excellent choice. Obviously, I played it. We thought it was absolutely brilliant. And, this game has gotten so much love, so much critical acclaim, especially from Shut Up and Sit Down. Oh my gosh, it feels like they've been raving about this game for years.
Yeah,
and I guess it's paid off because it must have found enough of an audience for it to finally, get some follow-up, which is great because, it is such a clever hand management game with all the, the positioning of your bikes and all of that. Good choice.
It seems like it's always sold out. It took me over a year to get a copy, and I finally, I couldn't find it anywhere, and I finally just, I begged Stronghold, please, can you send me a copy of the game? And they were kind enough to send me that in a couple of expansions as well, and it's gotten a lot of play over the years. That's my number 2, Flamme Rouge Grand Tour.
Yeah, I mean, this game deserves to get so much attention, so hopefully this does for it. But we've got one more, folks. My number 1. And if you have been watching my channel for the last year, it should come as no surprise what my number 1 expansion is. Ruel could probably guess it, but I'll put everybody out of their misery and say, number 1 on the list, most important expansion of the year, is Roll Camera, the B-movie expansion. Of course. Did you know this was coming?
I figured I thought I actually thought the Marvel Champions would be here, but I knew this would be on the list.
Yep. Oh man, I already loved Roll Camera so much, which is a cooperative dice worker placement game, which is a real rarity, not something we see a lot of in the industry. And it is thematically all about players working together to make the best movie they can, or depending on how things go, literally trying to make the worst movie they can to have a schlock masterpiece. And this B movie, I mean, and the core game was already fantastic, but the B-movie expansion adds so much new content. New worker placement spots that give you more flexibility. New, this concept of equipment. New genres of movies, or, combining genres of movies, which is a very, very cool idea. And more script writing stuff you can do, but more than anything else, more ideas. I have talked about this game till I'm blue in the face. This was my number one game, Roll Camera, of 2021, in large part because I played a prototype of this expansion, and it so elevated the game by giving you really much. I mean, what started out as maybe like a Gateway Plus game in terms of depth and complexity, with this expansion has really elevated into more of a hardcore gamer geek style game, which is of course what Jen and I like. And since we already loved it already with all the cool special player powers and just really interesting storytelling that evolves over the course of the game, that it was a no-brainer that I had to get this. But when we finally played it, and like I said, it just takes this game to another level. This puts this game firmly in my top 50 games of all time. I think it's actually in my top 30 now, Roll Camera, because of the B-movie expansion. And I've done run-throughs of both. You actually did a run-through on the channel as well. Roll Camera has gotten a lot of Rahdo love over the last year because it's just one of the best games I've played in the last decade. And a big part of it is the B-movie expansion, which is why it is the number one expansion anticipated. I mean, there's probably plenty of stuff we don't know about yet that's coming for 2022. Okay, boom. That was a good list. I am really glad we did this because you really, I don't think I was very surprising. I think I was pretty by the numbers, but you had some very cool entries. I really like that a lot.
And you talking about that B-movie expansion again got me excited again because I remember how much I loved playing that. I thought it was just a brilliant design. You had hyped it up to me, and I was like, okay, cool, this looks great. But it totally lived up the hype and beyond, because not only in dice worker placement, but you literally are telling that story of your movie. I mean, you're putting it together scene by scene, and then you've got that sort of like polyomino puzzle of trying to set up the.
I didn't even talk about that. There's a polyomino puzzle tile layer as well.
So great. Yes, so great. It is. I'm glad that made your top of the list. Great call.
Okay, cool. Well, folks, were you listening? Did you hear either Ruel or I say the secret word partner? If so, look down at the bottom of the screen. There's a reminder. Send that email to contest@rahdo.com. And whatever game we were talking about at that point, when Ruel or I said it, make that the subject. Not partner. Don't make partner the subject of the email. The name of the game is the subject of the email. Don't worry if you mess up. I find everything anyway. It just makes it a little bit easier if my filters can set up. So, hopefully you heard it. If not, well, I guess you can listen again. Or you can subscribe to the show on Twitch. One of the benefits for subscription to the show on Twitch, where we stream live this whole broadcast every week, is if you can't catch a secret word, we'll fill you in to save you the heartache. But that's it. Well, another one is in the can. Episode 23. I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to do my top 10 anticipated games with you, which I did on New Year's Day. But, I mean, when I did that, I totally skipped expansions. I didn't talk about them at all. And this just seemed perfect, and I'm so glad we did, because you brought the thunder. Those were some excellent decisions that I would have completely missed.
Yeah, and thank you again. Your list, as well as I have always said, I learned so much, and I'm just so hyped about the B-movie expansion for Roll Camera that you reminded me of how great that game was. So this has been a lot of fun. It's a bummer I couldn't do the most anticipated games of the year, but expansions just as good. A lot of fun,
maybe even better. Okay, folks. Well, that's it. Thank you, Ruel, as always, for being the best co-host in the biz. Thanks for watching, everybody. And also, thanks to our sponsor, CGE Czech Games Edition. Have a nice day, everybody. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.